This is Fixing a Hole by the Beatles, of course, from the mighty Sgt. Pepper album. This is primarily a McCartney composition, I think, and he plays harpsichord on it, which is really where all the chords are hiding out in this particular song. The bass is incredible on this one. I won't be covering that, of course, but I'll show you how to play the changes, how to play the song, the chords that are being played by the harpsichord, including the intro. And then we'll talk about George's guitar parts, which are just fantastic. Another really signature solo from him, okay? So here we go. So let's get into it. The first thing up is the intro harpsichord part, which can be played on guitar like this. So you can see the tab up on the screen, and I'll just play that nice and slow. What I would note about this part is to really play those chords staccato, really pop them. That's essentially a B flat 7 over there. So then we're into the verse, and of course the harpsichord and the bass and everything is what's really driving the blueprint of the song, so to speak. But we're going to play it on guitar like so. And again, I'm popping the chords, very staccato. So we start off with just an F chord. I won't go into the technical breakdown of these chords. You can call each of them, aside from the F, a couple of different things, which sounds way more complicated than it actually is. I doubt very seriously that McCartney thought much about it. So essentially we've got an F chord, and then the second finger comes to the second fret on the D string, and you're barring across the first 3 strings at the first fret. And you want to maintain that as you drop this note now to the first fret, so now you're barring all 4. Then pull your finger down to just the first 3, but keep the open D string, and that's how that's done. And then we move to an F minor 7th, and again we are avoiding the top string because we're in drop D for George's part, but we can play all of this staying in the same tuning. So if you want to combine both parts or just mosh them together, you can do that. So we play an F minor 7th chord, barring the first 4 strings at the 1st fret, and then with my ring finger, I'm grabbing the A string. And I think the best strumming on that to capture the groove of the song is down, down, up, up, down. And then we move to a B flat 7. So we've got the 1st fret barred, of course, all 5 strings, 3rd fret on the D string, and 3rd fret on the B string. So you've got to be a little bit handy with your bar chords for this one. So now we have and then we move up and play an F minor 7th, essentially an octave higher than the 1st chord. Moving to a higher position of the B flat 7th as well. You can see the chord on the tab, but we've got an F minor 7th to a B flat 7 played over here. And then you'll want to come back and play the lower ones again, and that's where the is, and we'll talk about that later. And then we move into, and it really doesn't matter, that particular lyric right there, and we're moving from an F chord to a C9. Kind of strum that one out at the end. That same down, down, up, up, down. And then we move to a C bar chord and a G7, which is formed exactly the same way that we did that B flat 7 up here. And once again, just a lot of popping of the chords, very staccato playing to kind of, emulate the pounding on the keys thing. And that is essentially all the parts of the song, and you just loop that around. Have it, the rhythm guitar part, if you will, for how to play Fixing a Hole on guitar. So let's get into the lead guitar part. It's got some great little fills and things throughout, and of course a really cool solo. So the first thing you're going to hear George play on the track is that's pretty simple to play. You can see the tab up on the screen, but there is a little bit of hybrid picking in there. I don't know if he just used a pick for some of these double stops, but you'll definitely need to use your pick and your finger, your second finger on your right hand, to play the last 2 of them. So I just use my finger for the whole thing, but you can just use a pick if you want. And then switch to the fingers for the tail end of it. Which is kind of the way I like to do it. And that's a tricky little slide there. If you're not used to that, we're playing the 8th fret and the 10th fret on the G and the A string, and you want to slide into the 7th fret and the 8th fret on the same 2 strings. Now he plays it that way the first time with that phrasing at the tail end. But throughout the remainder of the song, he plays it on the downbeat. And sometimes even picks it. So just a quick little note on that one, okay? And of course, the next phrase or line that you'll hear him play is moving into the B section of the song. And as was noted at the beginning of the video, we are in drop D tuning. So he enters with this. 3, 2, open. You can see it on the tab, of course. And you might want to play really close to the tail end of the bridge to kind of get a little bit of that sound that he has. So let's go over that a little bit, nice and slow. And he plays that 3 times right after this. And then we move into... Now, a little note about this. The first 2 notes are played very evenly. And then he kind of slightly staccatos the ones that come afterward. And there you have it. And then once again, we will hear him play those same double stops just before he goes into the solo. And then we're off and running into the solo. As a note, that covers all of his guitar parts, minus the solo, of course, which we will do right now. Pretty cool if you ask me. Very, very cool solo. So he opens this up with an F bar chord, and you just hit the chord and do a very quick slide, very quick, from the 9th fret to the 8th fret on the G string. And then we fret the 9th fret on the B string. I know you can see all of this in the tab, but just kind of walking you through it slowly. And then we're sliding back on the G string from 8 to 10, and then hitting the B string at the 9th fret again. So we have, and then 10th fret on the D string. That's a really cool sound. And then 10 on the G string, and 11 on the A string. And then 10 on the D string and 8 on the A string. That whole phrase is pretty cool, right? And you can see what fingers I'm using to pull that off. Feel free to use whatever fingers work best for you, okay? And then that is followed by 11 on the A string, 10 and 10 on the D and the G string, and 9 on the B string. And then we move to the next part of the solo, which is... So that's pretty straight ahead, but let me play it nice and slow for you. Love it. Another signature solo from Harrison. Just great stuff that he played on a lot of these Beatles tracks. So there you have it, Fixing a Hole from the Beatles, another great one from the Sgt. Pepper album, and another just stellar guitar part from George Harrison. What can I say? I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and we'll see you real soon.